Hi, my name is Maud Vosbinder and I work at the Foundation for Climate-Friendly Procurement and Business. And we are the organization behind the CO₂ Performance Ladder. In the next following minutes, I will give you an explanation about our instrument. We will get more into detail about what organizations have to do to get certified, but also how our tool works in procurement. Let's get started by asking the question, why green public procurement? Why? Because so much money. European governments, they spend almost 14% of their GDP to procurement. And that is responsible for around 15% of the global carbon emissions. So a lot of money, a lot of impact they can make. And if you break down the categories of procurement, then we see that the infrastructural and the construction sector, they are responsible for almost 80% of the carbon emissions. So it makes sense to use their spend power and to make impact. So this is what we like to call the power of procurement. So maybe the question why isn't relevant, but the question how is more relevant. So, and this is actually the principle why the CO₂ Performance Ladder was designed. It's around the power of procurement, meaning that if a procuring party like a ministry or a municipality, they can use their power to stimulate decarbonization and innovation of an organization, but also what they do on projects, their supply chain and heavy industries. If they do so, they give an award advantage to companies that are certified. So companies are actually financially rewarded in this process. So for them, it's a green business case to get started to reduce carbon or to be more ambitious. And for procuring parties, this is actually the easiest way to make significant impact. The organization behind the CO₂ Performance Ladder is SCAO, and that's a Dutch abbreviation, and it's translated to the Foundation for Climate-Friendly Procurement and Business. And we are the owner and administrator of the CO₂ Performance Ladder. And it's good to emphasize that we are an independent, not-for-profit organization. And what we like to do is we like to include and inform all the different kind of stakeholders that are active with the CO₂ Performance Ladder. Meaning on the one hand, we have the procuring parties, but we also like to include the organizations that are certified and different kind of experts. And together we manage the whole system, the CO₂ Performance Ladder, and we continuously develop that. So the CO₂ Performance Ladder is not a new instrument. It is developed 13 years ago by ProRail, the Dutch rail manager. At this moment, there are over 200 procuring parties that use our instruments. Those are ministries, but also a lot of local governments like municipalities. And by doing so, they stimulated lots and lots of organizations and sectors to reduce their carbon. At this moment, there are over 1,250 certificates issued, and it's possible to get multiple organizations under one certificate. So those are 5,000 organizations actually that are certified. This is a proven methodology. So it's been working in the Netherlands for 13 years, and 3 years ago we started disseminating our instrument, and we started with Belgium. Also, Belgium is using our system as a standard procurement tool. And if you look at the procurement part of the instrument, it is also aligned with the European Procurement Directive. So now I would like to introduce my colleague George Thurley. He will explain to you in detail what it means to get certified and also how the procurement process works.
So when we explain the ladder, we like to split it into two instruments that it in effect is. On the one side, you have the CO₂ management system, and on the other side, you have the green public procurement tool. And the management system is suitable for all kinds of organizations to implement. And we call it a ladder because of the 5 levels that you can get certified at, and for which there's a corresponding award advantage when the ladder is used in procurement processes. And the more mature the management system is, the higher the level of the certification and the higher the level of the award advantage in the procurement process. So what does a certified organization have? The core of the ladder is the Plan, Do, Check, Act cycle that encourages organizations to continually review the actions they're taking on CO₂, management and reduction and to improve those. And the management system is checked annually by independent third-party auditors to ensure the requirements are being met. And the ladder also takes care, we at SCOW also take care to align the ladder with international standards and methods such as the ISO standards, but also the SDGs and the Greenhouse Gas Protocol. So the ladder is based on 4 aspects. And the first one is insights. So that's how organizations get an insight, get an overview of their emissions, where they need to reduce and where they have influence. And the second one is reduction, ambitious reduction. And then they're setting ambitious reduction targets and plans to achieve those targets. The third aspect is transparency and communication. So how they communicate both internally and externally about their emissions and what they're doing about those. And then last but not least, we have innovation and collaboration, where organizations work together with others in their sector or in their supply chain to achieve more than they can achieve on their own in terms of reduction. So the ladder has 5 levels, and at levels 1 to 3, the focus is on the organization itself and the projects that they carry out, and looking at and reducing the emissions related to the organization and the projects. And then from levels 4 and 5, they also start considering their up and downstream emissions, so emissions in the supply chain and in the services, the products that they supply. And in this way, by certifying the whole organization, this results in carbon reduction being baked into the DNA of organizations, which can have real long-term effects. So the other side of the tool is the Green Public Procurement tool, and this is the basis of the business case, the green business case for businesses to get certified, because depending on how ambitious they are, they'll receive an award advantage in tenders. So how does the CO₂ Performance Ladder work exactly in procurement processes? We have a document called the Procurement Guide that explains in detail how the Performance Ladder can best be implemented, but I'll just walk through the process very quickly now. So, for example, say a government wants to renovate or build a bridge, they would include the CO₂ Performance Ladder in their criteria, in their most economically advantageous tender criteria, their MEET criteria. And then bidders, when applying for that tender, would include their ambition level in terms of CO₂ reduction on that project. So, and those levels correspond to the levels of the CO₂ management system, 1 to 5. The procuring party then awards the tender based on the best value for money, including a fictitious % discount based on the level of ambition. And it's important to say that when the bidders apply, they don't have to have the certificate or the proof at project level already, but they commit to achieve that within 1 year. And then they can either prove their ambition, their implementation level, either through a certificate on the CO₂ management system of the CO₂ Performance Ladder, or by a declaration at project level. And this is then included in the project contract. And hopefully, at the end of the process, we have not only a sustainable bridge, but also a sustainably built bridge. Maybe an interesting side effect of what we've seen over recent years is that although the ladder began as a GPP tool for governments to use in their procurement processes, in recent years, we've really seen that government organizations have also been certifying themselves, certifying their own organizations. So, for example, all Dutch ministries have committed to getting certified, and some of them, such as the Ministry of Infrastructure and Water Management, are already certified at the highest level, at level 5. But we also see water boards in the Netherlands, provinces and regional governments, municipalities getting certified to get an insight into their own emissions and provide an example to their suppliers and show, okay, we're asking you to do this in procurement processes, but we're also taking the same commitments and taking it just as seriously as we're asking you to do. And the newest development that we can tell you about is that since 2021, SCOW has been looking at the possibilities to disseminate the CO₂ Performance Ladder in Europe, together with our project partners, the International Institute for Sustainable Development, and funded by the IKEA Foundation. And this means that there's opportunities for contracting authorities and businesses across Europe who are interested in using the ladder to get in touch and get involved and harness the power of procurement to make impact in their country as well. So thanks for your attention. I know this was a lot of information in one time, but if you're interested in more documents or videos or presentations, You can find those all at our website at CO₂performanceladder.com.